Welcome back to our Dice Tower 2018 Origins Summer Preview. I am here today with Kirk Dennison from Piecekeeper Games, and you have two games to show us today. What are we looking at first?
On your left here, or maybe it's on your right, is Gearworks. This is a steampunk strategy card game that's got a bit of a puzzly Sudoku style vibe to it. You are tinkers in a workshop. You're trying to fix a broken clockwork machine. Maybe I am Bartleby the red tinker, or Jade, player color white. Play the game. There's two rules to keep in mind. You're playing a card according to color rules and the vertical or the horizontal according to number rules. There is a color restriction and a number restriction. So that's where the Sudoku type of comparison comes into play. So there is already a gray card here. You could not play a gray card here. I could play it here, and then when you play cards into rows, the order goes from high to low or low to high. So now that the 2 is lower than 8, everything must go up this direction. So these may only be 1s and 2s. Or if the flip side were true, you'd only be able to play 8s or greater. Every time you play a card, say I play this 8, I flip the gears and spin them towards my player color. Maybe I am red. This shows I've played last. You get different parts at the end of the round if your color still faces you, and you can use them to build different contraptions. Say if I had this robot here, I might need to have this glove and the wind-up, but I could build it with even just one of them. So the game takes 3 rounds, and you are trying to get the most parts and build your contraptions.
All right, and so the contraptions are the points?
They're the primary way you get points. You can also just get points by having parts in general. Unused parts are worth points, but you get the most points when you build your contraptions that need 1 or 2 parts. There are also points given for bonus sparks, a form of currency you have left at the end of the game.
And this game is available now, or when will it be available? It will release
on September 4th. The Kickstarter backers will start to get their game in just about a month or so here, so we're still accepting pre-orders for the game, and then look for it in your store in the near future.
All right, and you have this playmat here as well. This isn't included in the game, it's a separate item, correct?
So this is a $25 game. There's also a separate playmat. You can play the game without the playmat, but if you wanted to enhance your experience, you could buy this for an additional $25. There's also a deluxe edition of the game that comes with some wood gears, which are actually shown here, and a plastic tray and a box sleeve. So the playmat comes in its own spiffy box as well. The game takes about 30 to 45 minutes. There's even a solo player mode where you face off against the Leviathan. You built him, he turns against you.
Oh wow.
In solo player.
Okay, I like that. I like that. You build him, and okay, I like that. This is really interesting. I like this, and so this will be available then. But you have another game to show us as well.
I do.
And that game we have over here, which is called
Rurik Kiev. Rurik Kiev is a Euro-style area control game set in a historic kingdom of Kiev and Rus in the 11th century following the death of Vladimir the Great. His children fought for control of kingdom for about 20-25 years. He had 12 sons of note and 7 daughters, and who knows how many others that history doesn't really record. You play as the role of the different princes or princesses of the kingdom trying to be the next Grand Prince. And there are several ways you can score points, but what you're trying to do is prove to the people that you are a valued ruler for them. You primarily score points by ruling, building, trading goods by loading them on your boats, and there are points for warfare, although that is a lesser point of the game. There are a couple other ways you can score points as well, such as hidden objectives or agendas. The gameplay itself revolves around a central strategy board with a mechanic we're calling auction programming, not to be confused with action programming.
Okay.
So this is the 3 and 4 player board. This has a number of actions that you can play in each of the columns with your advisors that have a number on them that signifies how fast they resolve and how strong they are. So when you play, you go to the top of the column. Maybe I'll start the lower number, maybe yellow plays up here. But if someone plays with a higher number, they bump you down. The number order matters since the lower numbers resolve earlier in the turn sequence. So the yellow player would resolve first on the build action, but they would get less. They'd only get 1 build, whereas the brown player would go later and get more, but the build might not be as effective or what they wanted if someone else can build where they were planning to build first. So the crux of the game revolves around trying to decide which actions you want to take earlier for less benefits or which you'd like to take later for more. You can also bribe your way to the top, so maybe yellow did really want to come on top of brown. Yellow could later play on top and pay money to make his strength even stronger. He would still resolve as the number 4, but he has ability to bump down numbers.
Okay.
Then when everyone's done planning, you resolve the actions on this large game board in a number of regions, trying to do things such as muster new troops onto the board, move them around, collect tributes, construct buildings, sometimes even attack your opponents. And when you attack your opponents, you flip cards to see if you suffer any casualties by looking at the bottom. In that case, we did not suffer any casualties. Maybe eventually we'd find something that would have revealed a casualty. These are dual purpose cards.
So the combat in the game is just resolved using those cards?
Correct.
Okay.
But you can also use those cards to play for one-time benefits. So one of the actions is going here to look at the top several cards, keep one of them, and stack the rest on the top of the deck. So in this case, maybe I want to stack a card that puts a casualty on top of the deck, so if my opponents attack me, they will suffer a loss. You can also score points by getting deeds that you can accomplish. You pick these up in between rounds. Some of them require building configurations or spending different types of goods.
Okay.
Each player also has unique player powers, and you'll notice that down here you have a household map that shows a boat where you get to store your different goods. You want to fill up the boat with different goods to get additional coins, and it's also one of the ways that you score points.
So each player is going to have a boat that they can fill up.
Correct. And all the players I think I mentioned have different player powers down there. You could show the full art sides on the back of the character cards as well.
Oh yeah, I was actually going to ask about that because we can't see them from here. If the characters had different abilities for them, so if they've played that way.
Maria can muster troops in addition in a land that's adjacent to her.
Okay.
Her troops. Your prince powers or your princess, they can count as troops on the board, but they have a special ability that applies to them in the region that they're in. So this plays 1 through 4 players as well. In solo player, you take on the role of trying to put down a rebellion by one of the sons that caused some havoc in the kingdom, even while Vladimir was still alive. This game takes about 30 minutes per player.
It's about 30 minutes per player?
And this will be on Kickstarter July 10th.
Okay, so this will be coming Kickstarter later. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
And these miniatures are based on a 40mm scale, but some of them, such as this one, well exceed that. This means Svidopok. And then the basic troops are 28mm scale. There's a total of 69 miniatures in the game.
And so I see here, so these are these going to be the final miniatures as
Those
far
are
as
3D prints.
Well,
oh, sure.
So I noticed like the black character here, they have a different model than the brown.
Yes.
Do you anticipate it'll be that way in the final version?
So the black ones are actually local resistance or the rebels that are trying to suppress your rules. So if you defeat them, you get bonuses that are listed on the bottom of them.
Gotcha. Okay, so they're not a player
model.
character. Perfect.
Correct.
And what about these little buildings? What do they signify?
So they have
in the
different
game?
building bonuses. Strongholds make it harder for your opponents to defeat you. Markets help you give you bonus resources when you collect goods. And churches convert your opponent's troops to your troops when you build them as a one-time bonus.
So it says a 4X style game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, we go back and forth on whether we want to embrace the 4X title or not, because some people might say that it's not a pure 4X game, and that's fine. It has some of the same type of elements of a 4X game. Maybe you call it more of a 3X game. I like to call it a realm-building game set in a historic kingdom. But it's got a rich gameplay experience. The designer, Stan Kordonsky, is Russian. He wanted to make a game about his heritage. He spent the first 18 years of his life living in Russia. Ukraine and Bulgaria also share a heritage with Kiev and Gearworks, and our primary character artist and done a lot of other art in the game, Yaroslav Radecki, he also, being Ukrainian, shares a heritage in Kiev and Gearworks. So it's been cool to work with people that care strongly about this culture.
That sounds really cool. And so this will be coming to Kickstarter July 10th.
Correct.
Right. And this is available, the Gearworks is available, you said September, right?
Yeah, Gearworks is available in September. You can go ahead and place pre-orders at our store or with your preferred retailers.
All right. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us. Both of these look really exciting. I'm really excited about this one. Look forward to seeing you folks in our next episode.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate your time.